Welcome back to the Tiny Room Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about a collector versus a speculator. And guess what? Yes, you can be both. It's possible. And then I'm also going to touch on, at the end, resellers that don't collect at all. They aren't part of the game, and they're way different. So we'll talk about a lot of this stuff here in 2026, but another fresh perspective and some good bots to talk about. So it's, of course, Friday. We talk about Masterpiece Transformers and collecting versus speculating, and you might find you speculate too. Coming up. First off, I want to talk about collectors that never ever sell anything. And I thought this was a cool picture of just a bunch of random Unicron stuff, because we're coming back talking about Unicron here in just a second. But yeah, there's collectors out there that don't sell anything. Actually, ironically, I think this is a picture of a guy who sold a big collection, but I might be wrong on that. But anyhow, a lot of collectors will never sell anything. They'll take it to the grave. Just like I was for 20 years. I didn't sell anything. I collected for my first 20 years and didn't sell anything. Now, I started selling stuff off because I needed space and to try to fund going forward in life. But the truth is, there's a lot of collectors out there that will not part with anything at all. It's going to take it to the grave. Well, they can't take it to the grave. Their family will deal with it after that. But there comes a point in time with many collectors that they get over that and they start selling stuff off. But the collector that doesn't sell anything, let's give you an example here. So when collectors find out that, hey, I've got an item that I paid $600 for, now it sells for $2,500. I don't know, is the sky the limit now on this? The sky, I think, is the limit on Unicron these days. But I did buy a spare one, which kind of gets into the whole next segment, but I've sold that one off. But I'm not selling this one. This is my Unicron. I'm keeping it. And even though, like, there is a tipping point for me, like 10 grand, okay. 10 grand, you can have it or something. But in all reality, there's a lot of collectors that don't care if it's 10 grand. They don't care if it's 50 grand. They will keep it for the rest of their lives. And there's a lot of psychology behind that too. It's not just they love it, but the reality is that if they sell it for 10 grand today and they really, really want it back 2 years from now, it might cost them 15,000. And that is a true reality when it comes to collecting. And so with that, that also gets into a little speculation on the downside, or the inverse or reverse speculation on your own wallet. So there was a time where actually Hasbro put out the Unicron again in what they call the Vault. It sold out in minutes. And they probably had 10, 5, 20, I don't know how many. I was there for it. I had my finger on the trigger, and I was like, nah, let another collector get it because I don't need it. I've got mine. But that's not what this is. But I'm bringing this up because it would be interesting if somebody has maybe a link to more information about that, because it was a flash in the pan. I took a screenshot. I can't find my own screenshots anymore. But it was interesting how they did that. But yeah, you could get one for $600 and then flip it for $2,500 or something. I'm sure some people did that. Then there's figures right now that are still kind of going for a higher dollar, like the Hoodlum and all that, and which it's interesting. I don't even think the Takara MPG one's going to put a dent in the secondary market of Hoodlum right now until Fanstoys does a 2.0, or maybe we get an X-Transbots one. I think X-Transbots could make a good one. They've been doing pretty good with the Carbots. But as it stands, Hoodlum's still the reigning king right now. Until we get the MPG, which probably still won't dethrone it. Now let's get into the next type of collector. That's the collector that speculates. So I notice a lot of collectors will buy an extra one, maybe an extra two. So not speculating like, I think I'm going to make $1 million, but maybe I could trade one down the road. Some of the terms that I've been hearing lately when people, it's one to rock and one to stock. Then there's the old, one just in case for the third one and all that kind of stuff. But the reality of it is that a lot of this Fans Toy stuff does still sell out. But it doesn't sell out like it used to. In fact, I should be using screens of another place that has a lot. The land of the plenty of Fans Toys. So there was a time, and I think back to 2018, 2019, that things felt kind of normal. Like some stuff would sell out, some stuff wouldn't. Most pre-orders didn't sell out. Like the pre-orders would arrive and thered still be some stock, and then a couple weeks, maybe a few months, maybe up to 10 months till they sell out. Then for a while there, we saw stuff selling out, pre-orders selling out in 30 seconds, and if they pop back up, they pop back up for 30 seconds or a few minutes, and that sucked, but that's the way it was. And we're noticing nowadays we don't have that so much anymore. But people like myself, I was for a short while picking up some extra of the combiners. Now, as you can see, there's combiner parts aplenty. This is the TF Source, which is my backup. And I joke because they are a bit higher priced, quite a bit higher priced than Show Z Store, but they're my backup. So if I miss out on something, if I'm just not paying attention close enough, I know I got to pay a little bit higher. It's an immediate late tax, but I pay the immediate late tax if I need to go get it from TF Source. And we can go back and forth on that whole topic, but it's good that there are higher priced vendors out there, because their stuff stays on the market longer. As I discussed in my Wednesday video, with Gibson's being more expensive than Walmart and stuff from back in the day, you got a better selection of figures, you got a better selection there, but you have to pay a lot more. So what I was doing was getting an extra limb for each of the Fans Toys combiners, because I was thinking, okay, I want to do bot mode and I want to do combine mode. And because the first bot mode bot I got it and I said, wow, this is phenomenal. I don't even remember which one was the first one out the gate. It's phenomenal, so let me double up. And that was where I was with it. And a lot of people do that, and I'll have a little picture for that here. But a lot of people do that. And this is a nice triple picture. So some people are doing the Fans Toys Devastator in triplicate, which is, in my mind, it's just really expensive. But if you're only collecting Masterpiece Transformers, not 100 toy lines, not Mask and Vintage Mask and Vintage, well, not so much Star Wars, but G.I. Joe and a whole bunch of other stuff, then you probably, this doesn't seem like as big of a financial burden to you on top of a whole bunch of other things. But still, there are people doing this in triplicate for the same reason I wanted to just pick extra ones up. But once those 3D printed kits started popping up and they look decent, I mean, I still think they look better with the official figures on them. It's arguably the cost of one Fans Toys figure covers a kit for all of that. And then you can have all of your figures also in bot mode, which I definitely needed for my Superion. I wasn't quite as worried about it for the Minosaur, but at the same time, so in a way, I mean, I was speculating that if I decided I wanted an extra one in the future, I'd have to pay double or triple. Then I ended up selling all my extras off and just enjoying the kits and the figures on their own. Now, I thought about doing it with Magic Squares, which was so ironic because Magic Square figures are the most affordable. They're very affordable figures. And I was going to do that with this Swindle. I really wanted this Swindle. But I never got around to it. And for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, I got time. By the time I legit said, okay, I need to drop this money right now and buy it so I can have a bot mode of Swindle. Because Swindle is my favorite of the team. And I've got it combined. Then here I am. Now I don't have a Swindle to go with it. Now I think I'll probably go the route of buying a QQT kit for their Bruticus. I'm trying to think of their third-party name. Anyway, the Bruticus. But I haven't done that yet. So I was just thinking it'd be just just as simple for me to just grab a Swindle because that's the only one I really want to display in bot mode, and there's a lot of transforming to go back. Anyway, a lot of reasons, but still, I didn't, the whole speculating mentality of a collector speculating, I knew that if I waited, this thing would be more expensive, and I don't know, I think it cost me like double to get it right now on the secondary market. Another thing that is a collector speculating, you're not in this just to make money off of your toys. You're in this because you love collecting, but you could probably speculate that the Toy World Constructor dominated for 7 to 10 years as the top combiner, Devastator, masterpiece. And some people can argue about some other stuff, but it really was. And for the height, for the 21-inch, it was really the only one. And it did look pretty decent for what it was. It's pretty good. It's good. I wouldn't say it's great. And my problem, my hang up with it was this. I want the hyper tune look. I'm super tuned, and it wasn't super hyper tuned. It came out before everything switched over to super hyper tune. In fact, they had to do upgrade kits to make it look a little bit more tuned. And they did that. But if you're knowing that you've got 3 companies making masterpiece Devastators and that are cartoonish, G1-ish, and 3 more making their own thing, then it's probably a good time to sell off this constructor. Now, it's a good time because nobody's completed the Fans Toys or the X-Transbots. And so with that, the price and value is still there on constructor. How much value will be left on constructor a year after Fans Toys one's out? Well, actually, oddly enough, the value on constructor will go back up once you can't get Fans Toys or X-Transbots anymore. So that's also kind of a sine curve, some crazy chart that I could probably drum up, but that's another way that you speculate. You speculate the downside. You don't want to be trying to sell this when 100 other people are or 300 other people are. It actually makes me wonder how many Toy World constructors exist in the world, and how hard will they hit the market when Fans Toys has completed theirs and all that. That'd be something. When it happens, I'll be definitely talking about it. Okay, so now we want to get into an actual full-on speculator. And one of the things was that I noticed that there were people openly bragging about buying 20 of every figure. And like, I bought 20 of these. I bought 20 extras or something like that. And, you do that on the Facebooks, you get roasted, people get mad. But at the same time, the question's how much you want for it. Because when someone buys some 20 of them and they're sold out, and here I am with 20 of them, and I'm going to sell them for $50 over MSRP, I mean, that's really not the end of the world. It's not bad. And in a lot of cases, I would be like, man, I'd jump on that. And we see that. But guess what? When you're looking at in-stock Fans Toy stuff, which has another issue we'll get into in just a second, but it's still in stock. So why would people go to the secondary market for stuff that's already still in stock? Why would people want to be jumping on a much, much higher price, double, triple the price, when you can still get it for retail? Well, it's not exactly retail. It's a pretty hefty markup on some of the stuff that's still in stock at certain places. And with that, people have stopped buying 20. Now, you might go, no, I know Bob over here still buys 20. Okay. Far fewer people are speculating on everything collectible in 2026. I'm not saying nobody is speculating. I'm saying far fewer people are speculating. Now, although that sounds great, and it is good in a way, in the short term, more product is available. Some product might hit clearance. We might get better deals on some of the things because there are far fewer speculators that are out there. And so with that, you stop and you say, okay, so how does that affect the future? Now, I truly don't 100% believe the likes of, say, Fans Toys and X-Transbots are cutting their production in half, but I do believe they cut it a bit. They're selling a bit less because a lot of retailers want to get the product and move the product, not get the product and warehouse it. We're going to veer off just a little bit from Transformers, but Super 7, I watch this really close because I want to finish the line. I want to get everything I want, and I don't want to have to pay a stupid markup. But some of the Super 7 figures get marked up triple, quadruple the value. I mean, 5 times the value in some cases, because of the fact that they sell out and you need them to complete a team, and no one else in the world's ever going to make them. And that's just a fact. No one else is going to make this, the Silverhawks, as much of a struggle as it's been to get the Silverhawks made. We're not going to see another company come out and go as deep as Super 7 has with Silverhawks anytime soon. Maybe 10 years from now, but 10 years from now, I don't think the demand will be as high. And so with that, I don't think that a company's going to risk financial ruin. I've said this before in the past. But with that, I believe they're producing tremendously less than they used to. So you think about like the G.I. Joes that are on clearance. I think they're selling all these figures for $11. I don't know what's going on with this waitlist nonsense. Join a waitlist on a sold out item. I don't know what's going on with that. So I need more information. That might be a fun video there. But the thing is that I think Super 7 was producing way more. I mean, I don't even want to throw a number out there, but let's say 50,000. And now they're down to 10,000. I'm guessing. Brian will not disclose that information, and I'd love to interview Brian one day. But the point is, I think Super 7 is closer to third-party Masterpiece Transformers quantities than a Hasbro, Mattel, a Jada, or any of those companies. So when I start thinking about all this stuff, this sort of correlates and relates. And, you know, this is another concept before I get into the full reseller, but speculators, people that are speculating on this stuff, how many people bought like this Mirage thinking they can sell it for double the price or double the value in the future? I'm curious. I don't know. I'm curious. But when they already price it at like $250 or whatever it's going to get priced, it's a ridiculously high price, very high price. Then how much more room is there for upside potential? I don't know. And I wonder if these very limited like runs of 500, which is what I think this was, limited to 500, these very limited runs that are $250, is there a market for people paying $500 for it? I don't know. All I can say is that I didn't get one of those. I didn't get my pre-order in time. I wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't dialed in at the moment. But anyway, so getting into resellers. Now, this is where I offend a lot of people. A lot of people. And one of the problems is that when you collect stuff that's vintage, it's usually the vintage stuff. But when you collect the vintage stuff, resellers all over the world make stuff available. I don't have a problem with that, but people really seem to hate resellers for all of the like they're cleaning out the Goodwills and they're cleaning out the garage sales, and it's not worth it to go to garage sales. Yeah, so I don't go to garage sales. It's not worth it. I don't go to Goodwills and all those places. I don't go to the thrift shops and all that because it's just not worth it anymore. And yes, resellers are part of that, but it's not worth it anymore because all those shops and all the Goodwills and all of them, they put all their stuff online now. So if you're collecting vintage, whether it be vintage Transformers, vintage anything, most of these shops are putting stuff online. They get in the good stuff, sort it out, put it online. Now, yeah, you're going to find some good stuff slip through now and then, but it's not the norm. So a lot of people are going to argue with me and they're going to say that resellers are bad and they shouldn't exist. They're thinking about like the person that goes to the Walmart and buys, I don't know, a Transformer off the shelf and then tries to ask double for it online. And yeah, I understand the whole kind of concept of that sucking. But the point is that I think that prices have gotten so high already, and there's already pretty much, there's so much out there, so many avenues to get 90% of the stuff. It's the 10% of stuff that's exclusives that really go up on the secondary market. So the average stuff at retail right now, you got a year or two to get your hands on it for retail before it starts going up a little bit on the secondary market. It's not a big deal. But when it comes to vintage 40-year-old stuff, well, it's a little bit of a different story. And, you know, the thing is that if we didn't have resellers, if we didn't have people out there looking for all this stuff and then bringing it to the market, then I wouldn't have 67 to 70% of my collection. What's in my collection right now? I can't find this at a local shop, toy shop. I have to find this all over the world in 7 or 8 different countries. So there's a few resellers on YouTube that I watch. I don't watch a lot of them, but I watch them because I subscribed to them when they talked about 1099K stuff, and they had several updates and stuff with all of that, which I thought was quite interesting. But I still watch a few of their videos now and then. But you know what? It's interesting. I find them defending themselves, and it's crazy because they get a lot of hate. They get a lot of hate, but at the same time, I bought a few things from them that I couldn't find anywhere else in the world. So that's a fact. And yes, I guess I could have just lived my whole life without that stuff. I guess that's a point. But I choose not to. By the way, this is Kevin at Commonwealth Flipper. He's a good dude, good YouTuber. Lots of wealth of information and just kind of fun. And it just randomly just rolls into a video and he's talking. I don't even have it on the screen. But anyway, I'm just going to ask this one question to everybody that hates resellers. And no one in the world should resell anything ever. The question is, would you really like everyone to stop offering secondary market items up for sale, and if you miss it at retail, you just have to do without it for the rest of your entire life? Is that truly something that these people want? I don't think so. Side note, as I continue to complete all these projects I'm working on, I'll eventually do a collection tour. Coming soon. Not too soon, though. So to sum it all up, there's a lot of collectors out there that are only going to collect and never sell anything, never get rid of anything, and take it all to the grave. That's fine. And in fact, a lot of times they get called hoarders. I've heard that term a few times, quite a few times. And, you know, there's collectors that speculate. They would be like, maybe buy the Oceanus Fans Toys for $400, even though it's probably going to be a little bit more challenging to manipulate than the one we got from 01 Studio series, but 01 Studio Cell. But the thing is, if you go watch my video, if you want all my thoughts on the comparison between these two, and I will tell you my thoughts in that video. But there's ups and downs with speculators no longer speculating on particular toy lines, no longer buying 20 extra figures just for fun to resell down the road. There's a lot less getting produced going forward, in my opinion. In my opinion, I do not have the facts for that. But at the end of the day, it's still fun to collect. And if you're going to take anything away from this video, if you want it, pre-order it and make sure you get it. Because even though a lot of stuff still stays in stock, not everything stays in stock. And sometimes if you don't know to go with Fans Toys or the X-Transbot, you gotta roll the dice. I mean, you gotta pick one. Or both. Or two of each. So I want to know, where do you stand on this topic? Have you ever bought an extra figure thinking these are going to go up in value, so I might sell it off or trade it or anything? Have you ever bought an extra figure because these are going to go up in value and I might want one in each, both modes, or 3 modes? No, one in each mode. Have you ever actually sold something and made a little money on it to help support your collecting habit? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Good to hear, hang around.